Right now, top 4, grand total. It's Esper mid-range here with Relax versus Brad Eier with blue-black zombies. The other deck, black-blue, pardon me, Esper mid-range again versus Delver, very similar to Jerry Thompson's deck. And we're going to start over here with the zombies.
Relax winning the die roll leads off with the traditional Seacrum Coast Ponder Tank.
Relax, our 3rd seed today? Yeah, that's correct. Our 3rd... Pardon me, I'm incorrect. Our 5th seed today in the tournament coming into the top 8. Brad Eier sneaking in as the last place out of the top 8 at 8th. And Brad, it was a clean cut, so he didn't win on breakers. Everyone that had the X1 record made it. Or I should say X1-1.
Brad playing a second swamp, bashing with Gravecrawler. This time advances Deergraph Ghoul and another Deergraph Ghoul. Now, this is the type of opening, like back in Tempest block, where we used to see just sometimes Suicide Black leads off with nothing but 2-power creatures, and you end up just so far behind if you don't have these sweepers.
Yeah, Carno, Sarko.
Now, how many ways does Brad actually have to deal with a Blade Splicer with a Golem? Because Guess Verdict doesn't really work here, and Tragic Slip is a tough way to do it.
I mean, he basically has to go through tons of work. You know, use a Verdict or some other creature kill spell, and then follow up with a Slip.
Wow. So, alternatively, he could just bash with the entire team, right?
Yeah, and they're...
Because now a Tragic Slip will finish it off, right?
And that's 4 damage, and then the Messenger, he's just
he
throwing
just
away.
Powers through it.
Yeah, what's that saying? He's saying, I'm going to be throwing a Fire Blast at your face.
Wow.
4 damage for a card.
And this is one of the reasons why the people, all these guys playing Blade Splicer, went this route this week instead of Geist of St. Traft. Just a Geist of St. Traft would have been abysmal in this spot, whereas Blade Splicer has given Ari real good chances.
Now look at this board. It's very hard for Brad to attack profitably now. Oh, but that makes it interesting. Blood Artist. It's not a zombie.
Yeah, but this is already a profitable attack. Plus, without black mana, I mean, Ari's gonna run out of guys. Now obviously he could potentially draw one, but he misses land drop on this past turn.
We're gonna see this block here. It looks like Diagraph Ghoul is gonna be taken out. The Giralf's Messenger is also gonna die, but it'll come back. And that's gonna be the death of 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures for 4 life gain from the Blood Artist, 4 life loss, and then the Messenger coming back.
And 2 from the Gravecrawler getting through.
Yeah, there you go. Was that 8 damage then?
It is. Ari should be dropping to 4 with Brad moving up to 24.
4 life with a Blood Artist and 3 creatures in play.
This is definitely going to be a tough spot for Ari. Now, he doesn't have any life gain main deck, right?
No swords, no Sorin.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a tough one. Now, I mean, if he doesn't really have a lot. He has 1 Go for the Throat and 1 Oblivion Ring and 2 Gut Shots, but even Gut Shot is extremely difficult.
Ooh, there we go. That's very clever. Phantasmal Image on the Blood Artist. This means that essentially, with active player, not active player, during Brad's attack step, Ari's Blood Artist will resolve its life gain and life loss first. So essentially, during Brad's attack step, Brad's Blood Artist is somewhat neutralized, at least while Ari's fake Blood Artist sticks around. That doesn't change the fact that, and then Brad says, well, how about I've got 2? See what happens then. And Ari's like, that's too much. That's too much. And maybe it will be a quick top 8 or top 4.
Well, Ari's faced these zombie decks before. It's really important for him to get the 3 Celestial Purges into his deck.
Absolutely.
What else does he have?
Well, before we continue, one of the things that we always do at these Star City Games Open events, the top 8 of all of the events that we have. So, last night with the Standard, later tonight with the Legacy, is we also give away prizes to you at home. And the way that works is you join in on our conversation right down here, SCG Premium. You can put other hashtags on there, but SCG Premium, that hashtag is the one that makes you eligible to be able to win our prizes. So last night we gave away 3 free months of Premium. For the semifinals, it's going to double, 6. And then in the finals, we switch it up a little bit. Instead of giving you 6 free months of Premium, 3 free months of Premium, instead we give a winner a Gen Con badge, one of the greatest weeks of gaming, 4 days in Indianapolis with... I can't even tell you how much magic is happening there, but not only magic.
34,000 people's worth.
34,000 people's worth of gaming at the very least, right? Like, that is a lot of gaming and a great time. So, for this, right now, our decks in this top 8 just so you can get a heads up on this, black-blue zombies, Esper midrange ×2, and a Delver deck very similar to Jerry Thompson's list from Nashville, and I believe the Invitational as well. So, the question is this, something that we were talking about a little bit earlier. How many Ponder are being played in this top 4? What number of Ponders are being played in our top 4? That's zombies, 2 Esper midrange, and a Delver deck. How many Ponder do we have in our top 4? Now, tweet the right answer to hashtag SCG Premium, and one lucky respondent who has the exact right number will get 6 free months of Star City Games Premium. But right now, looking
Spoiler, it's not 7.
Good call. Good call. What are you going to say regarding how you feel the sideboard's going to work out for, let's say, Ari?
So Ari obviously boarding in 3 Celestial Purges, but he also has 2 Day of Judgments, which can be a powerful weapon, particularly once he has more ways to keep both Blood Artist and Geralf's Messenger off the table. In addition, Batterskull, the life gain, much appreciated, and actually, in my experience, I don't know for sure how it is in a blue-white or in an Esper mid-range deck, but I know that I've always had a lot of success boarding in Jace, the Memory Adept, against zombies, which is kind of surprising. If you play with a bunch of 1-for-1s and a bunch of more of a defensive thing, often you can drop Jace and draw a card.
Treat it like a Bellerin?
Well, they won't even be able to kill it, because if they'll often have, they'll only be able to get through with 2 to 4 points of damage from the actual attack, because so much of their damage is from life loss. And so they can just never get Jace off the table, and if you can keep 1-for-1ing, it gives you a way to actually win the game.
And then if they do that, I mean, that's not exactly life gain, but it functions as life gain.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think Ari will probably bring in Memory Adept, Batterskull, 2 days and 3 purges, slow it way down.
I think I might also be interested in Phantasmal Image, but I'm not sure. It dies very easily, but you can copy a Geralf's Messenger, have it come back. You can copy a Blood Artist to... Maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you think that's reasonable or not, but...
Oh, it's definitely reasonable. It just ends up coming down to how much space
there's a...
He gets to cut 2 Doom Blades and 2 Gut Shots, but after that, all of his cards are pretty decent, so he's going to have to just trim a little bit, and see where, it just comes down to which ones are the least valuable to him.
Do you like cutting the one Gitaxian probe that Ari's playing?
In general, no.
Okay,
an awful lot of people like to shave on the cantrips, but it's usually just a little undisciplined. All right, so the sideboard from Brad's zombie deck. Not really a lot for this matchup. I mean, he's pretty main decked out against these Snapcaster Ponder decks to begin with. This isn't really where Nile Spellbound shines. I could see. Maybe Skursdark High Priest. I don't know. Probably not, though.
Is Active Aggression main deck a valuable card, or is that not as powerful for what his needs are?
No, that's definitely one that's got to go out.
And I really like basically every other card in his main deck. So maybe he just sideboards in
an Active Aggression for like a Foom Spitter or a Skursdark High Priest.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having another 1-drop, even if it's kind of a crappy one.
Yeah, I think he's definitely set up game 1, so he doesn't really need a lot, but that does mean that. I mean, game 1 is the easy one, All right, and we're continuing to play best 2 out of 3.
Now, I believe that yesterday I mentioned to you the comment that a couple of people had come up to me over the tournament and said, hey, Cleveland's doing really well in this event. This top 4 right now is Chris Anderson, Ari Lex, and 2 Cleveland players. That's Brad Eier and Kevin Gerhardt.
Absolutely. We've, looks like we're about to head into game 2. The daddy long shuffle style that Ari Lax learned from Kyle Bogamus is serving him well. But not that well, as he goes to Paris.
Oh.
Brad joins him, though.
Okay.
Now, games like this generally favor the cheap aggression deck. Although Delver is also, mid-range, like these Ponder Snapcaster decks are also well known for being able to mulligan effectively.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons that they both are good at mulliganing effectively in these cases, the aggressive deck needs less land, so its requirements out of any particular hand require less cards. And the decks like a Ponder, Snapcaster deck, they just have so many ways to cantrip that they can make hands get built into being solid hands.
Absolutely. I mean, when your 6-card hand is like, you know, 2 Ponders, 2 land, a Snapcaster, and, you know, the 7 of spades, like your deck is like you basically have anything you want at that point.
Now, we can even think about how this worked out for a deck like Brad Nelson, I believe, in the finals of, might have been the finals of, I want to say Grand Prix Minneapolis with the Mono Blue Architect deck, where he kept a no-lander and came out to win that game. Because why? Well, he had Snapcaster, Gitaxian Probe, Ponder. He was on the draw. He was like, well, I think this is going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a little risky, but, I mean, you have an Ancestral Recall in the bank, plus, you know, if you go to 5, what are you even doing? Like, I mean, you have chances, but you're going to see 3 more cards with this hand. The 5-card hand only has 2 more looks. Are those cards really going to be better than all the different cards you're going to draw from all those probes? So both players debating on their 6. Looks like they're both happy. And by happy, I mean mostly Ari Lax. Brad going to 5. Ari, the stone nuts, cannot resist showing the camera at home.
Did he raise it up?
He raised it up. He's got a smile on his face. He's fanning.
Oh, hey, look at that smile.
It looked like he had actually it looked like, was it the queen, the 10, the ace, the king, and the jack of hearts.
Oh boy,
that's pretty good. However, Brad, very, very capable of putting together some absolutely just brutal hands. I mean, he can still curve out with creature in the first 3 turns and hit his land drops and just roll over Ari. Ari does not have access to timely reinforcements.
No. In fact, after sideboard, Batterskull is his only way to gain life.
Absolutely.
Now,
no Sword of War and Pieces anywhere in his deck either. Interesting. I mean, this is obviously not the matchup for Sword of War and Peace, but so it looks like Ari's probably going to just. I mean, this game he's got the Celestial Purge Snapcaster opening, so he's probably just going to try to play a little bit of a control game where he's like, okay, I've got a couple removal spells already in my hand. My opponent's mulled to 5. I just want to, you know, kind of stay ahead of him, stabilize, and then eventually lock up the board a little bit with Restoration Angels and Blade Splicers before eventually winning with Gideon or Jace or Batterskull.
How many cards is that for? Is that 5 cards for Brad?
5 for Brad.
Double mull for Brad.
Ari at 6. Leads off with Seachrome Coast and ships the turn. And, you know, this is a pretty good start from Brad, though. Turn 1 Darkslick Shore's Gravecrawler, and we saw Ponder in its hand. So we're going to have a real game here, but just one that's a little bit lower on resources. Ari dropping a 2nd Seachrome Coast. Wow, I don't know if I can get behind that. Ari waits until Brad's turn to Celestial Purge the Gravecrawler, inviting a Tragic Slip. But he was not punished. Then again, maybe this is like some next level play where he just really wants to know if his opponent has a Tragic Slip. Brad ponders, and part of me ponders if possibly he's going to shuffle again.
And he does.
Now, what's Brad looking for right here? Just some of his good creatures, right? Like basically, Dross Messenger, Gravecrawler, Bloodline Keeper, any of the above average ones, right?
I mean, I think all that he wants to have happen is either, since he doesn't have any kind of presence on the table, either Highborn Ghoul or Geralf's Messenger, and then in a couple of turns, that Bloodline Keeper. The things like the Highborn Ghoul, because it's got the evasion, and the Geralf's Messenger, because it's so hard to deal with, and Bloodline Keeper, because creating an army of flyers is not terrible.
There's such a big gap between the best zombies and the rest of the zombies.
One of the things that has been a real struggle for zombies is finding something to do to bridge that gap. And it looks like the thing that a lot of zombies are doing, this is black-blue zombies, black-red zombies, following kind of the Smitty lead is...
playing the Killing Wave Blood Artist, yep.
Yeah, Blood Artist, the Vampire. Now, a lot of times people think that it's a zombie because you're playing against ostensibly a zombie deck, but it is a vampire.
Bloodline. What is it? It's Blood Artist is a vampire.
I was gonna go there, but I was like, I don't know if I can do the voice right. So.
Yeah, absolutely. My 4:30 a.m. Billy Corrigan. So
That's awesome.
Gravecrawler swings in there. The third land. He now has access to everything short of a Bloodline Keeper. Giraffe Messenger. This is exactly what Brad wants to be doing. He may be down 2 cards, but still curving out pretty reasonable. Ariolax commits Phantasmal Image. Not as good against Giraffe's Messenger as it is against Stranglegeist, but still quite good.
There's 5.
God, it's so brutal when these zombies
Oh my god, look at that. 7 this turn, 8 next turn, and that's...
And Ari continuing to miss land drops, making Snapcaster Mage not really an option.
I mean, I think it's going to end up being an Ashcoat Bear.
Yeah, this is a real tough way to do it.
Oh, he's got another Purge.
No, and that's exactly what he wants to be doing. So Ari blocking the Gravecrawler to ensure that he can come back as a messenger.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that sometimes people often forget is that with the creatures coming back with Undying, not active player, in this case Ari, would get his image back, and if there's not a messenger around, then he doesn't get to copy it. And he doesn't want to copy a Gravecrawler when he's on the D.
No. Nope.
What do we got there? There's a lot of glare on that bottom card. Gravecrawler comes back, but is that a Blood Artist?
I think it's a Highborn Ghoul.
Highborn Ghoul?
Yep.
Does
it's either a Highborn Ghoul or another Gravecrawler. Pretty sure it's a Highborn Ghoul. There's the Blood Artist. It is a Highborn Ghoul.
Highborn, Blood Artist, Gravecrawler, and Giraffe's Messenger.
Yep, this is real tough. Now, it is interesting that Ari can actually block the Highborn Ghoul. But dropping to 1. No, he packs it in.
Wow.
Brutal. Ariolax missing his land drops. Brad, despite the mold of 5, makes very, very quick work of Ariolax.
I think that might have been the fastest top 8 match I've seen in months. Like perhaps all year.
It's a very different pace